All right, we got 2009 Subaru Forester. We're doing a rear wheel bearing. First thing we're going to do, of course, is take off the tire. We're just going to throw this one underneath the car, and then we're going to remove the brake caliper first. We'll take out the 2 bolts right there. One on top, one on the bottom. Slide it out, get your brake pad out. Then you have a bolt there for your bracket. And then you got one on the bottom down there. Can't really show you that one. And then once you do that, you're going to remove your rotor right here. And actually, I would recommend before you do all that, break loose this axle nut. You have to knock it back out right there a little bit. Break loose the axle nut to make sure that the axle is not jammed, or you might have to put it back on the ground with a tire to break this loose. So we need to do that first, and then we'll get the rest that I just showed you. Okay, and that was a 1 1/4 is what I use on that. The axle is nice and loose, came right loose. Didn't even have to knock out the piece right there. It'd be better if I just showed you. Didn't even have to uncrimp that right there. Usually you don't with it, at least the axle nut is jammed on there. As you see, it's loose. Now we're heading to brake caliper. Okay, on this one we got a 14mm wrench. Better just to tap it with a hammer. Knock it up like that on both sides. Then you run it out with your fingers. Pretty simple. We're going to do the other side the same doggone way. And then we're going to get the brake pads off, caliper bracket, and the rotor. Okay, now on some of these rotors, whenever they're stuck so you don't damage them anymore, you can put 12mm bolts in 2 holes right here. And that will pull out, can you make sure parking brake's off? And that will pull out the rotor. Make sure your parking brake's off when you're doing this. Okay, and you just do a little bit at a time on each one. We don't need that extension, so let's get that off there. I just kind of got in my way. You'll pull it out. Well, we get the ratchet going. You'll pull out your rotor off there a little bit. Definitely a big help. You can see it coming now. Just about out of there. Make sure it ain't pulling your parking brake with it whenever you're pulling it. That one kind of jammed up. Let's loosen that back up. Got to watch it whenever you're pulling it out of there, though. I said it will jam up your rotor with the parking brake. Okay, and if it still don't want to go, and we're just going to work with it and see what the problem is, because right now it is not stuck anymore. It's just the brake caliper. So we're going to spin it a little bit, see if we can get it out of there that way. Always got to be one pain in the rear, don't there? We're going to back them back out, get them out of our way so we can knock it back on there. We're just going to tap it a little bit. And we're going to rotate it. So what's happening right now is well, I might have done it too far. The parking brake is getting stuck on the inside of the brake rotor, pain in the rear. So we're just going to pull a little bit, get it broke free again, because apparently I'm moving too far. Oh wow, we're going to have one of those, ain't we? Are you serious? I hate drum brakes, and this is the reason. Well, let's get 300 minutes of me trying to get off the rotor. Don't step on the edge of that right there. Go in there, pull that e-brake up and release it. Maybe we can get it readjusted. Okay, now release it. Okay, well, we're going to pause this video for now and we'll come back to it. Okay, whenever y'all doing the parking brake on this thing, I highly suggest you all, unless you all got a picture memory, take a picture of this and the bottom side to see where it all goes. And what I usually use is a pair of needle nose vice grips to grab it right there. And I also use them right there on each one to twist those. And down on the bottom, it just releases. It's pretty simple. Either way, that's how I do it. Okay, now after we got the brakes out of our way, there's only 4 bolts. Now you can pretty much see where they are because right there is the end of them. You got 4 of them total, so we're going to go in here on the back side. Up in there, we're going to use we're going to try the little ratchet. We might have to go to the big ratchet, but usually little ratchet, 14 millimeter, 6-point. And we'll break all these loose and see how hard it is getting this out of here. All right, now it is time. We're just going to take the hammer and try to knock this loose. Hopefully it comes right out with the lower mileage on this thing. It's got like 162,000. So let's see if we're good or not. Didn't mean to hit that. I broke it free. Yeah, it's jammed. All right, let's try the tool, see if we can get it to work. All right, y'all, we're gonna try out this tool. As you see, I think I only used it once and the wheel bearing fell right off. Well, that ain't gonna be the case on this one. We're going to beat the tar out of them, pretty sure. Still ain't as bad as some of them, but because I already broke it loose, so that is a plus. The thing is, they did not give us the right stuff, so we're using the lug nuts off of the car to get this. We're going to tighten these up. And as soon as I find a tool, don't want to leave them loose. Okay, so we're just going to tighten this up. Just snug it enough to, I have no idea what just happened there. Snug it enough to hold it in there good. You hit this thing both directions. Put on my gloves just in case I smack my fingers. Oh yeah, car's got to go up a little bit. Our jack's a piece of crap, so it just keeps on letting down on us. And let me adjust that camera up a tad bit, and then we're going to beat the tar out of this thing. Y'all ready? Here we go. Wait a minute. We want to go. Why is it loose already? What in the world? Oh, because the washers are bending that we got with this tool that are junk. Ah. Oh, this one's going to be a fun one, but we're getting it if these things quit loosening. Holy crap. But I'm going to show y'all what we do once we get this thing out, and this won't happen again. Oh my goodness, are you serious? Well, it's going to take some time. All right, we're going to time lapse because it's going to take a while. Okay, as y'all saw, the jack definitely helps. Let me see, is that even on the, yeah, there it is. And the backing plate is not showing us. There's a big old gap on the back side right there. There we go, now you saw the car go down. So we're gonna try to work that loose now. There we go, we got it out. Okay. Set that back up in there. And it looks like we're going to disconnect the parking brake cable because I wasn't expecting the whole thing to have to come out. And I'll explain the rest as soon as I get that off there. All right, now we're just going to take this little booger off. I'm going to try to get this backing plate out. Dust shield, whatever you want to call it. It's more than a dust shield on this thing though, because it holds your parking brake, cable, all that on there. Okay, our lug nuts are still good, but our washers are junk. So, it looks like this bar will not last very many times. I guess it ain't meant to be beat on. I ain't totally for sure, but yeah, I don't know if y'all can see that, but it already started denting down right there. Very, very crappy steel. Very crappy steel. But we're done with that. We'll get that out of the way. Now we gotta get this backing plate out. Well, that wheel bearing ain't bad. That's a good wheel bearing. So we took it loose for nothing. But we're gonna put 2 blocks of wood underneath this, and then we're gonna smack the back side here without hitting the edges and knock it down in there so we can get that out. Okay, now you don't want to hit this real hard because you will actually bend this plate here where the parking brake goes. So we're just gonna yeah. It's moving. We'll keep on. We'll give it a second or two. There we go. Okay, that come out pretty easy. So now, what we're going to do, save that wheel bearing, put it in somebody else's car later, and we'll make sure all your stuff's clean right there, which this one looks real good. So we are going to grease points for our parking brake right there. And also right here, we're going to grease that. Just a little bit of grease, nothing much. And we're going to take a file, and this is the problem. This is what we're going to fix. Well, not kind of bad wheel bearing. See all this rust right here? That's why it was stuck. Let me raise up the camera so y'all can see a little bit better. See all that? We're going to take a file. We're going to make this a bigger hole here and get all this rust out. And then we're going to put anti-seize back in here. And next time, this wheel bearing will fall out. So, I guess let's get started. Okay, here is the important thing to do. You want to run anti-seize on your whole area in here where your wheel bearing is going to go. And let me get that all nice and caked up in there. Put it in there nice and thick. That way that rust ain't coming back through on that doggone thing. All right. We're going to put it also on the sides. All this rusts up too. Ain't going to hurt nothing. Ain't like there's a bearing going there or anything. So we'll just put it all the way around there. And this wheel bearing will literally fall back out next time. Now another thing you're going to want to do is you want to put anti-seize actually on your axle too. These are bad if you go through creek crossings or in a big area that likes salt so they can tear up their roads. Well, it also tears up your cars. So that's what we're doing there. Now I'm also going to put a little bit of anti-seize at the edge. Actually, I will probably just, yeah, heck, we'll run it down in there. Right here where your ABS sensor is. To keep that from rusting anymore. And then, we're going to take it, and we're going to put a little extra right here around the wheel bearing. Just to make sure, because these like rusting too. So we're just going to put a little thin layer there. Ain't too bad. May not be able to see it very good, but it'll be okay. And we're going to do a little thin layer just around that. And there we go. So, what we're going to do first, make sure you put these plates on correctly. And make sure you put your wheel bearing on correctly. It won't fit like that anyway, so it really don't matter. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to put that on there. And look, does that look like the right way? Because it don't look like it to me. So we're going to spin this up the way it's supposed to go. Get it started in there. All right. And we'll go ahead and get one bolt started. Maybe. It might take a minute to get it started. First of all, our plate moved on us. All right. I think we got one started. So I'm going to go ahead and get two of them started. These are the easiest ones to get started. The other one requires a socket. So we're going to go ahead, get these tightened up, and then move to the next step. Okay, now we're just going to snug these up. We're actually going to tighten them real good. And I need to get that extension off there. Probably help just a little bit. And as far as torque, the amount of torque you need is about that much. So y'all figure out what it is and go from there. I think it's only like 60 or 80. I don't know. I'm probably putting 100 on this. And then we're going to tighten up the other two. Well, try to anyways. These are a little bit harder to do. I think I got them though. Okay, let's get the last one. Well, I was just about on there. There we go. All right, that one is tight. Get my socket back out of there. Let's recheck this one and go back around. Double check them all. All right, that is it on there. Now, what we need to do is put back in our ABS sensor. Got a little 10 millimeter right there. As soon as I find the other one. Just barely snug there. Don't want to tighten that, you'll break it. It's just plastic with a little metal bolt. Okay. So, after you do that, you want to take this, put on your axle nut, get out your big impact, and dial in the torque specs of it. And the torque specs is on full tilt, number 6, I think. And yeah, we just, well, I went the wrong way, first of all. So, whenever that big torque wrench or big impact quits hidden right there, I need a chisel right over there. When that sucker quits moving, you know you got enough on there. Y'all have to look it up, but I think it's around 160 or something. Heck, I don't really know. And be sure that ain't gonna do it. That's a pick. I don't know what that was. But then you want to take it and knock this back down in here. What happens is that nut starts coming back out. After you lock it down, this will keep it from rolling on out. Well, I will get this. I will get this. Ooh, we made a spark. Wasn't that pretty? Just make sure you lock it down good. Okay, it ain't going nowhere. So now we got all that. So what we're going to do, we got the sensor back in. We got all the bolts torqued into specs. We got the axle nut torqued into my specs anyways. And we are going to assemble the brake pads. But first, I'm going to get a wire brush. And going to kind of clean this up a little bit right here. Okay, so we're just going to take a wire brush, get a little bit of this rust off because this has never been done apparently. Maybe from the factory or something, I guess, maybe. Clean all this up just a little bit. This is where your parking brake pads are going to sit. And what you want to do is, first of all, we need to get our cable back through. And put our clip back in. Let me see if I can find out. There we go. And it's got this little tiny clip. I don't know if y'all can see that very good, but either way, there's a clip. It just holds your parking brake on, your cable. And then another thing I do is I take these vice grips and I'll take this little piece right here. I'm aiming down that camera just a little bit. I'll take this and, well, can't really show y'all. I'll slide that spring up. I'll get these in there. And then I'll slide it up even further and latch it down. That way I can get my parking brake back on. Oh, wait a minute, which way? Yeah, it goes that way. Okay. Had to figure it out. So then you just, uh-oh, that didn't work out as planned right there. Something happened. All right, let's try this again. Sometimes it can be a pain. All right. Put it back in our parking brake. And it keeps on sliding on me. It's starting to piss me off. Okay. I hate parking brakes. I hate drum brakes. They all suck. All right, there we go. I tightened it up a little bit. It should hold this time. Now, hopefully with any luck, we can get it down in there. Finally. Got a piece of my glove in there too. It can have it. Okay. Oh, maybe it didn't. Either way, just going to put your parking brakes back on here and get all this back together because it'll take a few minutes to get it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of grease. We're going to put it just enough on there. We don't want this on the brake pad, so we're just going to get all those grease points right there on all that. Don't leave no access there. You don't want it flying on your parking brake, then your parking brake won't work no more. So you just put just enough there to keep that from rusting. And you want to also put a little bit of grease on that too. Just a little bit, y'all. And that is it on there. Now, we're going to head for the parking brake. Let me show you how I do this. Usually it goes by halfway all right anyway. So, what I usually do is, turn down the camera so y'all can see, is I'll take this piece and this piece, flip it over, goes that way. Take this spring, I think that spring go on the front, check the camera. I ain't no expert on no parking brakes. Number one, that's the wrong way. We're on the wrong parking brake. Okay, yeah, there we go, it goes on top. Okay, so, spin that around that way. Let's try this all again. So we'll go there, there, and take this one and put it right there. Oh, it was on the other side. Huh. Okay, so we'll flip that around. And your camera's reversed, you goofy ass. Oh. Yeah, I know which way that goes. Okay, either way, there we go. Our adjuster's there. Everything's there. Now, we're going to put it up here. And don't listen to anybody whenever you're doing this, because they'll get you in trouble. Okay, so now, where'd it go? Come on. You junk. I see it. It's there every time. There we go. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to hope that one don't fall out of there. I probably shouldn't even bother doing that. Usually it works quicker this way. Okay, so we're going to take our spring, put it right there, and then we're going to lock. Oh, spin, man. There we go. Lock that in right there. Now, I'm really thinking we're going to do this other side the same way. Yeah, because I think it'll work. Let's try it. It's been a while, y'all. Let's try it. Okay, so we're going to put this pin through before the whole thing falls out. Maybe. Maybe. Come on, man. Seriously? I swear, they need a better design on this. This is the dumbest stuff I ever saw. Okay, glove has to come off. Watch me lose the whole thing. Okay, it's through. Now, watch this not work. Where's my spring? There it is. And we're going to go ahead and put the other side on. So we'll see if this works. Okay, it's locked in. Now, we're going to probably turn down that adjuster a little bit, considering we had issues earlier. We're going to slide that in there and slide that one in there. What the hell's going on? There we go. Okay, now we're in. Look at that. I know how to do something. Okay, so now we got to put our little retainer in, that little booger right there. Set it right there. Watch the car get raised up because my jack's leaking off. And then, I don't remember which spring goes where, but that's okay. We're going to put this one on first. Pretty sure it's this one. Get out our little handy dandy needle nose vice grips. And, well, they wasn't tight enough, was they? Let's try that again. Okay, and we're just going to put that one on. So you got to make sure shove that all the way over, so that way it is, that little pain in the rear is what it is. You want to shove that spring all the way over against that retainer, because your next spring is going to come over and it's going to be on the outside right there. So we'll just stick it in there. Get that, pull it over, and we are back together. Oh, wow. Okay, now we're on a roll. Now what we're going to do is look at our rusty rotor and see what's going on the inside. Yeah, we're going to loosen up that parking brake just a little. That's the wrong way. So we're going to loosen it up so we can get this rotor on and off just a little bit. There we go. Okay, now this should slide right on and right off. So let's, well, we want to put it on, not off. So let's give it a shot. See if it goes on. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Went like butter. Oh, but I didn't do everything I wanted. So we are going to slide it back off. NICs. Where is the NICs? So another thing I recommend doing, this rotor don't rust up very bad, but the wheel bearings kind of do. Just put your little tiny bit right there in between each one. And then what I do is I go around there so your rotor comes off next time, because that is a spot where it rusts, right on that lip. So there we go. And now we're going to put our rotor on. Ta-da! Look at that. Holy wackaloo. Okay, we'll just, now we got to get off these 12 millimeters. Get them out of there. Get them out of the way, and we will just do a time lapse on the brakes going back together. I got to give my knees a break. And there we go. We are up against it, tight, and I don't hear no noise. That sounds good. My goodness, I think we might have accomplished it. Now, another thing y'all want to check, your slides right here. This one's kind of stuck a little bit. I mean, it's spinning. You want to pull these apart and refresh the grease. See how that grease is just about dry? We're going to put new grease in there. And this one is just about jammed. We're going to pull it out, put new grease in there, take our brakes off. We're going to clean all this up. Just a little bit, maybe. Let me see if they're jammed any. Not too bad, not too bad. We might leave them alone. But, yeah, we'll debate. Either way, I usually clean those up if they don't move very easy, and these are moving real good. So we'll clean this up, put it back together, and we're just about there. Let's do the time lapse on it, and Okay, now we're going to do the torque specs on this. A couple hits with the hammer. And y'all ain't gonna like me after this. Look it up in the book if you want torque specs. Just got a 3-pound hammer, so 3 pounds of torque, I guess, with 3 taps. And that's gonna be hard enough to, might tap it a little harder. But I'd say these are probably around 30 foot-pounds. Would be my guess anyway, something around there. And then we're just going to put on the caliper. But on the caliper, once we get it out of this hole it's stuck in, we're going to put a little bit of grease on there, and on this little round spot right here. And we're going to have to press this back in. I just use a C-clamp to press it back in with. Do our torque specs one more time on the brake caliper. Don't want to over tighten these. You can break these. These are tiny little bolts. And that is going to be tight enough. Just got to get the tire put on. Make sure your slide works good. Make sure everything's locked down, good to go. And then we'll have to clean up our tools. All right, time for the tire. All right, y'all, it is done. I do have torque specs for you right here. It calls for 78, some bull crap like that. I put it at 130 foot-pounds. That way it don't come off. Their aluminum rims are bad about backing off. But either way, there y'all go. Y'all enjoy. Have a good day. We will see you all on the next one.